Hey there, I am Christie Ruffino, former broke single mom turned CEO of 2 six-figure businesses and best-selling author with 15 books. But it wasn't always like this. Not long ago, I was a hot mess. Yes, I did a lot of things right, but mostly I was throwing spaghetti on the wall to see what would stick. Fast forward past many failed attempts and a few incredible victories, I not only get to share what I've learned along the way, I get to bring together top influencers as they share their empowering stories, insider secrets, and valuable resources that can be used right now to step into your power. So, if you're an ambitious entrepreneur, or possibly one in the making, and you're looking to create a business and life that lights you up, well, then you're in the right place. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of the Mastery Unleashed podcast. This is Christie Ruffino, the host of the show, and today I have the honor of interviewing one of the women who decided to say yes to sharing her story in our Overcoming Mediocrity Epic Women book. And this is one of the series where I have just really been blessed to work with these women and help them get their messages out there in the world to be able to help more people. And Georgiana is definitely one of those women. She grew up in Romania when it was a communist regime that was controlling everything. And she talks about what she went through, how she lived, and some of the challenges that she overcame. And that has been what has fueled her, the skills that she learned and the training and the resources that she has accumulated over years of being able to combat the stressful situation and live a life of tranquility. And so she is going to teach us some major stressors that we are facing every day, and more importantly, how to not manage them, but how to basically eliminate the stressors and live a life of tranquility. So let's dive into the show, and you get to meet Georgiana and, of course, not only learn from her, but have an opportunity to get an amazing gift that she is sharing with our audience, as well as the readers who read her story in our Overcoming Mediocrity Epic Women book. So let's just jump right in and you'll be able to see exactly what I'm talking about. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to today's show. This is Christie and Georgiana Danet. Welcome, Georgiana.
Thank you so much, Christie. I'm very happy to be here.
Well, I'm happy to have you. We met, oh gosh, it's been a few months ago now, and I love your story. I love what you're doing in the world right now. I love your mission, and I am just excited to be able to share you with our audience today.
Thank you so much.
So you are one of the epic women in our most recent Overcoming Mediocrity book, and you have a powerful story. And your story is why you're so passionate about what you do right now. So can you share a little bit about your story with our audience today?
Yes, I will be glad to do that. So I'm originally coming from a communist country. It was a communist country with a dictator. And the conditions there were pretty harsh. So, for example, we didn't have electricity. We had only 2 hours electricity per day. So during winter time, the heating was run by electricity. Outside there were minus 25 degrees Celsius. Inside of the apartment was approximately minus 10 or 15 degrees Celsius. And because it was a communist country with a dictator, we didn't have sleeping bags that could keep us warm. So it was really as sleeping outside in minus 10 or 15 degrees.
Oh, wow.
All the food was with coupons. So we had food coupons. So we could buy half a package butter per month, half a kilo flour per month, half a liter food oil per month. So everything was in half. And you can imagine for a kid living under those conditions, it was pretty stressful.
Yeah.
And also, if you spoke about the regime or about the leading the dictatorship in a not so compliment-like manner, you couldn't end up in jail, or you can simply disappear.
Wow.
So those were the conditions, and my family, they were not rich at all. So sometimes, for example, I had during university, I had a period, I remember it very well, when I didn't have so much money to buy food. So I found some rotten tomatoes, and I found a piece of bread that was hard as a rock. So I made a salad out of the rotten tomatoes, what I could scrape out off of them. And then I used the hammer to break the bread so I will not break my teeth instead. So that was a meal for me. Or I had another month when one day I was eating boiled rice and one day I was eating cornbread. So that was 1 month diet.
Wow.
Diet for me.
Rice and cornbread, huh? Boiled rice and cornbread.
Yeah, so it was a little bit stressful to live under such conditions. So therefore, I decided I have to do something about it. I wanted to support also my family. So I thought I will become a writer. I will write a book, and then out of the money from the book, I will be able to support my family. I wrote the book, but it was not a number one bookseller, bestseller, so I couldn't support my family. And then I decided I want to help more than just my family. So I started becoming a coach. And soon enough, I was invited to keep workshops and seminars and classes also outside of Romania. So after a while, I became an international coach. And because of the very stressful and harsh situation that I had as a kid and as a teenager, I really felt passionate about helping people get rid of stress. So not just managing stress, because for me, managing stress means you get stressed, you manage it, you get stressed, you manage it, and so on.
Yeah. So you still
I
have this, still have it, you're just managing it. Yeah.
Exactly. So I was looking at my life and what I did to be able to somehow come to the point where I don't get stressed anymore. So really eliminate the root cause of my stress. And then I put together like a program to help people arrive to the same destination, that they would be able to uproot the cause of their stress. So they eliminate stress, not just manage stress. So that was my main preoccupation for many years until I was able to put it together. So that is the motivation why I was just doing that stress elimination teachings, we can call them like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love that because, yeah, people say, well, manage stress, but the stress is still there. So if you can teach people how to, work on the root cause to eliminate stress, that's our ideal goal.
Yes, so exactly that. I teach them to understand what stress is, and then I help them get rid of unhealthy emotional habits because they also create stress. I teach them mental training techniques so they can have an increased mental ability to handle life, generally speaking, because life is a roller coaster. I don't know many people who just have a pink, fluffy life. So life is a
Right.
roller coaster.
It is that it is. It's a roller coaster, but I think we have more control over the roller coaster if we adopt the right strategies in our lives, and that's what you teach people.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's the physical part, the emotional part, the mental part, but there is also a spiritual part. So these are the four parts, so to say, that I am putting in the program with stress elimination. So people can do it by themselves.
Okay, that's perfect. So I know, I mean, I've only lived here in the United States, and so I have a very limited view on what other areas, what's going on in the other parts of the world and other countries, and yet I see people here complain over so many things, and at least I don't know anybody that had to scrape mold off of a tomato and use a hammer to crush up their bread to have that be their meal because there was nothing else. And that I know is just one little story, but I'm sure you could share with us for hours and hours and hours all of the different hardships that you and your family had to endure during, or not during, but in that type of a environment, that type of a country that really oppresses us and
Yeah,
our
yeah.
ability to live free.
Yeah, because for example, one aspect when I wrote my first book, I was 21 and it almost got me into jail.
Oh, I would imagine, because you were sharing things that people don't want, they didn't want people to know.
No, because for example, in Romania, I don't know of any other country that was forbidding anything related to spirituality. So anything related to spirituality, it didn't matter if it was martial arts or yoga or religion, it was forbidden. So
Okay.
my first book was about astrology, and in their karmic astrology even. So in their perspective, it was something related to spirituality. So I almost ended up in jail because I wrote a book.
Yeah. Wow. Well, how were you able to avoid that?
I had a good lawyer who taught me how to present the content of the book in case they will want to pursue this with
Okay. All
having a
right.
trial and putting me in jail. So I could
Wow.
present it more as a scientific book than a spiritual book, so I could stay out of jail.
Be safe. Yeah. Wow. Wow. Okay. I can't imagine having that type of a constraint and you having the courage to do it regardless of what type of risk there was to you.
I think I was also a little bit naive, being
Yeah.
just 21. I thought that it doesn't. So it's not. I will not be public enemy number one by just writing a book. Well, you can get surprised in such a regime where they are paranoid about
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. All right. Well, gosh, Georgiana, thank you for sharing your story. We're going to take a quick break and then we're going to come back because I really want to dive into this topic of eliminating stress and going from being or having tension to living a life of tranquility. So hang tight and everybody, don't go away. We will be right back. You know what I learned about story? No matter how confident you are or how scared you are about sharing your story, you're never going to realize the power your story has on others until you share it. Hi, my name is Christie Ruffino, and I've been helping women and a few men share their stories for almost 12 years. And What I'm so excited about is now I've taken my proven formula and combined it with AI, and I have a workshop coming up in just a few weeks that's going to walk you step by step to writing your signature story. So whether you just want to share your story to leave a bigger legacy in the world, or you want to leverage it to build your business brand, attract your ideal clients, and use it as your powerful message in the world, join me for my story writing workshop, where I am going to really, it's a hands-on 4-hour experience where you're going to walk away with your story written. As long as you bring your computer, an open mind, and a dedication to getting your story out in the world, we're going to make it happen. Just go to activatemystory.com to get your tickets today. Welcome back, everybody. This is Christie and Georgiana, and we are talking about stress and how to eliminate tension and have a life of tranquility. And I want to welcome you back, Georgiana.
Thank you.
And you mentioned before our break that there are 4 parts or 4 aspects that we can kind of like tap into to be able to get rid of stress. So do you want to start this session with talking about some of those aspects?
Sure. So from my experience, I noticed that when we start this inner process of eliminating stress, there are 4 aspects to it. It's the physical aspect, which it's also the easier to start with. So stress affects our health, it affects our physical body, it affects the hormones in the body. So I start with the physical aspect because it's the easier to approach and to do something concrete about it. So you can do breathing exercises, detox, and so on. So the first part in this process that I teach is the physical aspect of it. Then it comes the emotional aspect, which is on a deeper level, and it is more complex because we have habits, we have emotional habits, and we have built them since we were kids. So in the emotional part, we do what I call a little bit in a humoristic manner, emotional striptease. We need to get rid of our unhealthy emotional habits. We need to first become aware of them, and then get rid of them and replace them actually with healthy emotional habits. So this emotional aspect is taking a little bit longer time in the course that I teach. And then there is also the mental aspect.
So before we go into mental, can you share maybe an example of a emotional habit that people have? Because I think physical habits, that's pretty obvious, right? Like certain things that we do physically, with our lives, that we create bad habits that, hold us back. But what about emotional? What are certain emotional habits?
One of the classic emotional habits that most people have, they are their worst critic.
Okay.
So we have the unhealthy emotional habit of criticizing ourselves quite well, so to say. And this is
Or
not
quite bad, because it's we do it well, but it's bad,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
it is unhealthy. So we put ourselves down, and that will affect our self-esteem, that will affect our emotional well-being, that will affect our self-confidence. It affects a lot of areas in our life. So this is only one example of an unhealthy emotional habit. So we need to become aware of them, and then I teach out techniques that we can do in order to replace them with healthy emotional habits. So somehow one of the secrets in my course, we don't fight against them because we just put more focus and more energy on them. Instead, we replace them with healthy habits. So it's more practical. It's much more practical to do like that.
So every time we see ourselves criticizing something we do, then we want to take notice of that and then swap it out with a like substitution habit that is more beneficial.
Yes.
Okay.
So instead of criticizing ourselves, for example, because I took it up, then we notice what we criticize, and instead we should focus on something that we actually do good, that we do well, that we use some quality in the respective situation, because there will always be two sides in everything we do. So instead of choosing to focus, but we choose subconsciously, it's a habit. We don't think, we just do it because it's already a habit. So instead of choosing to focus on the negative part, consciously and in full awareness, we choose to focus on the positive aspect, because for sure there is one, at least one. But
Right.
it sounds easy when I say it like that, but it is really a daily process.
So you mentioned this was like a striptease.
Yeah,
Yeah.
emotional striptease.
I love
Yes.
that. I love that. That paints a mental picture of just basically shedding off the bad and like, bringing on the good. I really like that.
I like to be a little bit playful and to joke, so I thought that emotional striptease, it's quite a catchy
It is. I
name
totally
for it.
love it. Okay. So we have the physical and emotional. What's the third?
The third is the mental aspect,
Okay.
because from a certain point of view, stress starts in our mind. We are in a certain situation and then we decide, but again, subconsciously, unconsciously, many times, how we want to react to it. And the reaction creates the stress, not necessarily the outer stressor. So we need to tweak a little bit and to adjust and to strengthen our mental abilities that help us, first of all, become aware, be conscious, and then choose in full awareness how we want to react to certain situations, to certain people, so that we don't choose to react with stress any longer.
How is emotional different than mental? Or maybe you can give us a example of a mental habit.
So mental habits, not necessarily, there are mental habits, but the mechanism is like this. For example, if we listen to music, we all listen to music. The music itself, it's not the stressor. For example, two different people listening to hard rock. One of the person will simply enjoy a lot listening to it, and another person listening to exactly the same piece of music will feel stressed, because mentally they will say, I don't like this music. And because of the dislike, the thought of I don't like it, it will create a feeling. So it will create an emotion. We will become tensed. We will feel the dislike as an emotion. So that will create the stress in us. But everything started with the thought, I don't like it.
Right.
So many times it starts always in our mind. We have a thought about the situation or the person in case, and that thought creates an emotion. And
Almost
the
like
emotion will create our reaction. So it will be, this is the difference. So the emotional part are what we feel, and the mental part is what we think.
got it. Got it. It's almost like the story that we tell ourselves around that particular situation isn't necessarily the reality, but it's the story. It's the lens by which we see it that creates that thought process. And then down the actions that support that, whether it's good or bad.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Perfect. Okay. So what is number 4?
That's the spiritual dimension of it. And that is also requiring a little bit more depth. From the holistic perspective, we have an ego. So we are complex beings with different structures. We have ego, which is a structure with its purpose and its role. But we have also our, we can call it spiritual dimension. We can call it our soul. We can call it our spirit, whatever name we want to give it. So in the spiritual dimension, we learned how to go beyond our ego. Because when we manage to do that, when we succeed in doing that, our soul is an inner place that never contains stress. It's always happy, it's always in harmony. So when we reach that place in you, you will never get stressed again. It's impossible.
And you have techniques to help people achieve this.
Yes. So
Yeah.
the entire course with these parts, every part contains a lot of techniques. So we simply dive deeper and deeper. We start from the physical level, which is the outer level, and then we go deeper and deeper until we reach our inner source of tranquility.
Oh, I love that. The inner source of tranquility. That's great. Well, so this is pretty fascinating. I took some great notes, and I know you have a special gift you want to share with our audience today, Georgiana. You want to share what that is?
Yes, gladly. So there is a pre-recorded free webinar, which is called Serene Living, and you find the link in the show notes.
And what is that going to do for us? Like, why do we want to get that or go watch it?
It is a short free webinar, so it will not take a lot of your time. And in it, I already present to you a few simple exercises that help you get rid of some of your stress right away. They are very simple to apply and very easy to understand, and you will get the results right away.
Awesome. So it is a free little short webinar that's going to help us learn some of these techniques. I think that's great.
I hope that you will find them useful, because this is the purpose for me creating it.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to check it out. And I encourage all of you to head over to our, well, actually the link will be in the show notes below that will take you directly to our gift hub, where you can get access to Georgiana's free webinar, as well as more, because all of our past guests have been very generous in providing some amazing resources in the gift vault. And you just have to go to the show notes to get access to them all. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. And most importantly, I want to thank Georgiana. It was great to have you on the show today, Georgiana. And it was really great to work with you over the last few months to help you get your story out and share it with the world.
Thank you so much, Christie. It is a pleasure and an honor to collaborate with you. I like very much your style and your openness and your warmth. So it's great collaborating with you.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. And so thank you all for joining us today. If you took any notes or you learned anything from Georgiana, of course, share them with somebody you know, because we always retain more by teaching others. And if you like our show, please go to whatever platform you listen and show us some love. And most importantly, if you want to connect with Georgiana, you'll find her contact information in the show notes. She would love to autograph her book and ship it out to you. And not only will you be able to read all about her story, but you'll be able to read the stories of 16 other epic women who have collaborated with her and myself to get their stories out there in the world. So thanks, everybody. And most importantly, thanks, Georgiana.
Thank you so much, Christie.
Thanks for listening to the Mastery Unleashed podcast, where we believe that everyone can have the business and life of their dreams by turning their mess into their greatest message and following their purpose to help the people who need their newfound wisdom and resources. To learn more, visit masteryunleashedpodcast.com. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review to this show.